So recently, Kevin Hart gave Chris Rock a goat named Will Smith on stage at his concert, and Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle was it? Now I do want to speak. That speaks volumes also that they were there, because if you want to look at it, I mean look at the generations right there, right, of inspiration. You have Chris Rock, 30 years in the business. Chappelle, 20 years in the business. Kevin, 10. Oh, no. I want to say, actually, no. Kevin about 10 to 15. 10 to 15 years in the business. Because Soul Plane was quite some time ago. And I believe his first one was that Death of a Dynasty movie. And Paper Soldiers. That's the movie I was thinking of. Paper Soldiers. This was Kevin Hart's early beginnings. But yeah, man. Just the generational, inspirational gap between all three. It was just cool to see amongst what happened. Now, I mean, you could take that as a couple of different ways, right? Which we're going to look at that in a second. You can take this as a couple of different ways. One, paying homage to Will Smith, calling him a GOAT, calling him the greatest of all time. And then you have the joke of him giving a GOAT to Chris Rock. So it's like we're going to try to suppress and lighten the situation with an actual joke. Because we know that it's very tense with Chris Rock on stage with a microphone at the moment. Everyone wants him to talk about this. So we lighten the mood up with a joke. But let's get into that footage here.
Hey man, this boy Kevin Hart is crazy.
I bought it. Yeah, you know what? Just for yeah, I will keep the goat. You have to keep the goat. I bought you the goat. I'm not joking. I really bought the goat. I have an apartment, Kevin. That's not my problem. They barely let niggas in there.
Hello, police. Yes, there's a nigger with a goat on the 3rd floor. I'm from the country. I'll tell you the truth, Kevin. The better gift would have been a sheep. Goats eat grass from the roots. Sheep just skim the top.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything, man? What the fuck did you just say?
Don't act like I'm crazy, nigga. You brought the goat.
Come on, get this picture.
This nigga is confused as fuck. What's up?
Dave, come here.
What are you gonna name this goat, Chris?
Come in. The name is Will Smith. Come here. What?
Now,
What did I say?
that actually said a freestyle.
Come here, David. Come here, David. Face this way. Come here, Chris. On some real shit. All right. Go.
Does this guy work here?
No. Turn this way, Dave. We're out. Come on.
Oh, let's go.
Because that's another reason why I play the goat. It's a goat telling the hook.
Hey guys, you can't make history without people. And
Wait, Kevin, wait.
What? My tequila?
Is this your tequila?
Yes, Dave, it's my tequila. Yes, Dave. Dave, don't let... No, Chris, give it to the handler. Give the goat to the goat trainer.
No, give this nigga to me.
No, I'm not going to do that. Sir, get the goat from Dave right
Look
now.
how easy this goat comes with me.
Right, sir, get this goat away from Dave, please. And I'm not going to fucking deal with Dave saying some shit about the goat, and then now I got to pay for that too.
And don't hold the goat by its like that. That's not gonna be uncomfortable. Somebody's holding the goat. Don't you dare disrespect that goat like that.
Come on. Here, Chris.
Boy, I had a lot to drink. I gotta tell you.
Dave, here. Here. Here.
Thank you for joining me on 1,000 Ways to Throw Up. Now I'm gonna drink Kevin Hart's tequila.
Hey, we're gonna end with a fucking bang, man. New York, it doesn't feel right. right to get mad at the guard. You guys are the guard. By the way, we love you. We fucking love you. We love you. What a night. Dave, get your drunk ass off. No, wait.
I want to say one thing. Listen. Stop doing that. The night that I got tackled, I did a set, and I called it the Lunatics Manifesto. I swear to God, I'll never do that set again. Got tackled after I performed that set, and then right after that, the Lunatic shot up Tops Market in Buffalo, killed 10 black people just because they were black. And what the fuck are we doing in our country? Tonight, being with these guys means the world to me. They try to cancel people, but you have to understand something. I've been doing this for 35 years. 35 years. Comedians, you go to their birthday parties, you go to their weddings, we go to their baby showers. We go to each other's funerals. If someone like Louis f***s up on the street, I could care less. That's my friend, and I always hope to see him again. This cancel culture, I get it. I want justice too. But my man, these men and women that do stand-up comedy have a culture. It'll be very hard for you to understand. And I've said it before, each and every one of you, no matter what you believe, has a champion in our room. And we would never silence each other. And when my brothers call me, I come running. Make some noise.
So, what he was really speaking to, and it sounded like he wanted to actually talk about the situation of the cancel culture, because he was saying that people were canceling Will Smith, which wasn't really true. Hollywood, in a sense, if you want to say, is trying to cancel Will Smith. Blackballing him with getting certain movie offers and denying him, not really trying to touch the situation right now because of the Oscar slap and things like that, which is understandable. But at the same time, it's like, how are you going to do that to someone that has done so much for the industry of Hollywood? Done so much for the actor community, for the Academy Awards. Canceling Will Smith is a bad idea. It just is. It's unfair. It was very unjust the way it's been happening. The man acted human in a moment where he shouldn't have, of course, on national TV. However, it was him. Will Smith, of course, acted human. He became human in that moment because of the past 2 years of being ridiculed day in and day out because of the alleged affair that she had, the alleged affair that Jada Pinkett had. And he snapped. He snapped on a bad joke. A bad joke that had actually been repeated 2 years prior at the same exact awards, the Oscars. This isn't the first time Chris Rock has been in a situation where he's had the opportunity to embarrass Will Smith and taken it. It's been a few times that Will has had to have a conversation with Chris Rock. about joking about him and his wife. What's the saying? Shame on you. Well, I don't want to get into it. You know what? Let's get into the public address that Will Smith just put out, because this was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview that Chris's mother did, and that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize, and I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that moment. So I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I want to apologize to Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. We had a great relationship. Tony Rock was my man. And this is probably irreparable. I spent the last 3 months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment. And I'm not going to try to unpack all of that right now, but I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment. There's no part of me that thinks that's the optimal way to handle a feeling of disrespect or insults.
Now, before we get into the next question, right? Because this is where it gets good. The thing is, how could you make a public address right then and there about slapping someone that made a joke about your wife? How could you? So I understand when he says that he was all foggy when he was making that speech. You can literally look at him and see he was shook the fuck up when he was making that speech, when he won that award. He was trembling. Number one, he was already in fear of his career. As Denzel said, the devil comes for you during your highest moment. And that's when it struck. But how could you make a speech, or should I say a public address, to someone that you just assaulted on TV? And you just won an award. At that point, you're saying to yourself, okay, let me try to avoid it. Hopefully everybody forgot what happened earlier. I know they didn't, but right now I'm not going to try to make it about that, because I could easily reset off the whole scenario again by even saying anything while I'm emotional. I think that's the main thing that Will was trying to get across to people. Like, hey, this whole thing has been an emotional roller coaster for me. Not just what happened 3 months ago, but everything that happened since then. Like I said, the damn near the loss of his career, him having to resigned from the Academy Awards. That's like that's a huge blow to an actor. Period. And him having to give back the award he just won. That's a different type of emotional roller coaster to go through. You work so hard to receive this Oscar. $30 years in the business for Will. 30+ years in the business for Will, I should say. And this was his very first Oscar. And for that to be ruined by an act of being human, like I said, is just unfair.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from
You can tell he
my
wants to laugh that off,
history
but he
with
can't.
Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe.
Now, I noticed the camera had to cut there. And then he had to do the sorry, babe. Because if you notice, the last thing he said before that camera cut was Jada had nothing to do with this bullshit. Bullshit. Because he even had to stop himself when he said that.
And say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on all of us. To all my fellow nominees, this is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me. And it really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment. I can still see Questlove's eyes. It happened on Questlove's award, and it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient. What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down? So there's two things. One, disappointing people is my central trauma. I hate when I let people down. So it hurts. It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image and impression of me. And the work I'm trying to do is I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself, right? I'm human, and I made a mistake, and I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of shit. So I would say to those people, I know it was confusing. I know it was shocking. But I promise you, I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy into the world. And, if you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
And he had to unfortunately end it that way. But my whole thing is, from watching that, was here's a guy that has to do a public address for just being human during the moment. It's pretty fucked up that he has to do this. Because in all honesty, he looks like he wanted to say, look, I apologize for what I've done, but at the same time, you have to understand why I did what I did. It of course, was, he doesn't think he was trying to be honest. He doesn't think what he did was acceptable. He he feels that what he did was not the right thing to do in the moment. I get that. But, it looks like he really wanted to just be very honest and couldn't be. And instead, he had to be politically correct during that entire situation or that entire video. Now, that video is going around from People Magazine. It's going around to ABC7. I was, as you can see, airing that from ABC7's YouTube channel. So this is a public address that he's doing. And letting everyone know that he's sorry about everything. I mean, this could have been done from an Instagram post. This could have been done from just a regular tweet. So I understand why he had to get on camera and do this. My whole thing is, when it comes to Will Smith, this is someone that had to be perfect his whole career. Well, Mr. Perfect, I should say. As a black man, he had to be perfect. Unfortunately, and never be quote unquote human. He had to be this big positive ball of energy all the time. He couldn't show you moments where he was angry. He wasn't allowed to. He wasn't allowed to be emotional. And I get that. As someone who has to stay in the public eye 24/7. Especially now with social media and the way it is. The way that works. You definitely have to be on your P's and Q's. So, I mean,